Hey there guys, I am the Six Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. So following on from a few rules and teasers of the upcoming Khorne part of the Codex, it's time for Papa Nurgle to get some love. And today, Nurgle has had an announcement on Warhammer Community with some very potent buffs coming to the Demons of Decay. So let's dive right in and see what's coming. First up, the article does indeed confirm that Disgustingly Resilient is going, much like it did with the Death Guard, the 5-up shrug that a lot of your units, I don't think all of them did, but certainly a lot of the Nurgle units had, is now gone, and instead it's being replaced with some much boosted stat lines, and of course the brand new super invulnerable demon save. And to show this all off, they first off showed us the brand new profile of the humble Plaguebearer. And this revolting little fellow has gone from toughness 4, 1 wound, 1 attack, and the old 6-up armor, 5-up invuln, to a much beefier toughness 5, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, and the improved 5-up demon save against melee and 4-up save against ranged attacks. So that is a toughness 5, 2 wound model with a 4-up save against shooting, sitting on your backfield objectives holding them, which to me sounds like a reasonably durable prospect. And looking beyond the durability side, even that extra attack is nice. Sure, Plaguebearers are never going to be super killy like Bloodletters or anything like that, but that extra attack should help them fight off enemy chaff or harassment units, and if they keep the same reroll wounds on their plague swords, which they have now, sheer weight of dice could help you fight off some even tougher enemies as well. Where we see a huge buff is actually in everyone's lovable units, the Beasts of Nurgle. These have not only got an extra pip of toughness, going from 5 to 6, but they've gained 2 points extra in strength, and also in their wounds, going to 6 and 7 respectively. So they are much more durable now, and their previously swingy d6 attacks, it's now just a flat 6. So yes, these guys now have 6 strength 6 attacks, and yes, sure, it's at weapon skill 4, but that still is potentially a good chunk of damage output. And it's certainly much more reliable than the old d6 attacks. Going to a flat 6 is a huge boost in that regard. For me though, the biggest boost to these guys is in their brand new grotesque regeneration rule, which is a brilliant little rule where at the end of each phase, they heal to full wounds. Each phase. So not turn, this is every single phase. So your enemy is going to really have to go all in to make sure that these guys just die. And I mean, yes, 7 wounds at toughness 6 isn't that difficult to put down in 9th edition, but it is still something your opponent is going to have to think about and have to consider, because if they, whiff some rolls and only do 6 wounds instead of those 7, at the end of the phase, you are back up to full. You are back up to 100%. So I have a feeling these guys are going to be really good bullet magnets and distraction carnifexes in the early stages of the game, but what I think is going to be really good for these guys is towards the end of the game, where a lot of units are dead and there is only a token amount of firepower left on the board. You are going to be able to hold and steal objectives so easily in turns 4 and 5, because the smattering of firepower that goes into them is probably not going to be enough to kill them, and as soon as they've survived that shooting phase, they are back up to full and they can weather the following, psychic phase or melee phase that is coming afterwards. It's just a really useful, really fluffy as well ability, and for me it definitely makes up for the loss of Disgustingly Resilient. Another little ability for the beasts is that they now have a rule called Gooey Demise, which is basically an explosion. When they do finally kick the bucket, on a roll of a 6, all enemy units within 3 inches take a mortal wound. It's nothing super exciting or scary, but it does mean that you can just throw these guys down the board at the enemy, charge them in, taking a load of enemy fire and hopefully surviving and regenning to full for a few phases to kind of get the most out of them. And then when they are in the thick of it, surrounded by the enemy, when they do die, hopefully they will explode and just cause a bit of damage to all those enemy models around you. So all in all, the Beasts of Nurgle are just a huge win. Great stat line, great special rules, and they're just lovable and want to hug you, which is a win-win for Nurgle really. Finally, the Nurgle Terrain piece, the Feculent Nullmaw, has had some updated rules. The Shroud of Flies basically now gives you dense cover to any non-vehicle or monster unit. It used to basically give you extra bonuses to your armor save as well as light cover, so this is different. I would say it's arguably maybe not as good, but with the new demon saves being unmodifiable, obviously it did have to be changed up somehow, so this is quite a fluffy, decent way to give you some more survivability as you're moving up the board. And then the Plague Bell's Chime no longer lets you shoot or charge if you've fallen back or advanced. Instead, you choose a friendly Plaguebearers core unit within 6 inches, and you roll 7d6, and for each 6, you bring a model back. Bringing models back is always nice and fluffy for Nurgle, and rolling 7d6 means you should on average at least get 1, maybe 2 models back each command phase, so it's nothing mind-blowing, but it will be helpful I think for a unit that is sat back holding a backfield objective, especially with your new survivable stat line. So it's a decent ability. I would argue fall back or advance and charge is probably a stronger benefit overall in the grand scheme of things, but still it is a nice ability to have, and it should make your backfield objective Plaguebearers incredibly hard to shift for enemy firepower. But there we go, just a few things that they've shown off today for the brand new Demons of Nurgle. What do we think of these new rules? Are Beasts of Nurgle going to the top of your must-take list? And do you think that Plaguebearers are going to be one of the better options for a list that brings all of the demons? Or do you still think that things like Bloodletters are going to be better? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.